Guys, first piece of information you need to know is that none of the new material from today's lesson will be on the test. Okay? Are we clear about that? The only stuff that will be on the test, new material-wise, is anything that was done yesterday or before. And you'll see the pretest tomorrow, so it's not like there'll be a great mystery as to what's on there and what's not. Okay, number one, true or false? The square root of 4 plus 9 equals the square root of 4 plus the square root of 9. False, absolutely, very good. Okay, number two, a half plus a third is 5/6. True or false? True, very good. How many people did it on their own and how many people use calculators? Did it on your own? Very good. How many use calculators? You know, I am like the last of the dinosaurs. The state demands that we let you use calculators for this stuff. And there's some things that you really do need it for, like graphing the parabolas and so on. But, man, when I first started teaching all those years ago, I used to look at a kid like, Minor, raise your hand like you used a calculator. I'd go, repeat after me. Say hello.
Hello.
My name is Minor,
My name is Mario.
and I am a calculaholic. All right? Yeah, I used to do that all the time. And now I get in trouble if I do that. So anyway, who cares? All right, a couple of different ways to do this. 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 9 times 16 is 144, 12 squared is 144. So that's a true straight answer. Any questions? All right, you'll notice the next one is exactly the question we did in class yesterday. And the reason I wanted to put this up on the Do It is that I felt like this was a fairly challenging question on yesterday's Do It. And I want you to wrap your head around it a couple of times. I do record all lessons because I'm never afraid of what I say in class, even though I realize some of it might be controversial. I do not, or I did not in college. I didn't go to class. I almost never went to class. It wasn't because I was completely a lazy bum or something like that. It had more to do with the fact that I had to pay my own way through school, and my parents weren't able to help me. They loved me. If they had the money, they would have helped me, but they didn't have it, so I wasn't going to get it. And I was working on a slow week 40 hours. On a regular week 50 or 60, 70 even hours in a week just to try to make my tuition bill. So my friends that I lived with, it was kind of like the Big Bang Theory. My friends that I lived with were also math majors, and they would bring the notes home from class, and I would read through the notes and kind of teach myself the material so that I would know what I was doing. And when I came across a question like this, which I think was pretty challenging yesterday, I would want to see it 2 or 3 times before I was comfortable that I actually knew what I was doing. So let's just go through this very quickly. Just to review from yesterday. Publishing company orders black and blue ink for its 2-color printing press to keep things simple with its ink supplier. Each time it orders blue ink, it buys B gallons, black ink K gallons. Over a 1-month period, the company places M orders of blue ink and N orders of black ink. So what does M plus N stand for? Molly, what do you got?
Total orders of blue and black ink.
Right, total orders of ink altogether. Good. What's MB plus NK stand for? Andre?
Total number of gallons.
Yeah, the total number of gallons. Nice. What is MB plus NK divided by M plus N? What's that one going to be? What?
Average number of gallons per order.
That's right, gallons per order. Nicely done. Any questions on that? You know, when people first look at algebra and they see M plus N and MB plus NK and so on, it can seem, and in some ways is, kind of mysterious, you know, but I think it's important as time goes on to realize that they are specific concrete things. M plus N is the number of orders. MB plus NK is the number of gallons. And then when you put them together in expressions, it's just going to be gallons per order. Okay. Company placed twice as many orders for black ink than for blue ink in January. Give interpretations of the following. So this would be, the first one looks to me like it's a percent of, what is M? Is M blue ink? Yeah, so that would be the percent of, or the fractional part of blue, and the other one would be of black, okay? The one that has to be greater is the black one, because it said it ordered twice as much black. Any questions? I had the coolest experience yesterday, absolutely dynamite experience. I really did. She's so fast, and in some ways I feel bad for you guys because you have not lived like your parents and I have lived. And you also have not lived through the implementation of technology in the world. Now, in the past, even up until maybe a year or two ago, or 3, if you got a new computer or any device that was able to access your email, it was a frustrating experience. Unless maybe you're a tech-savvy guy, but I'm moderately tech-savvy. I'm not stupid. And I went through this a number of times, so I did learn how to do it. But you would have to take your new device, and you would have to open it up, and then you would have to you'd have to open up the server and establish the new server, and like I have Opt Online, so I'd have to write in as server mail.optonline.net, and then it was a POP4 server, and I would have to go through all of these settings on everything here. And then, like, for instance, who remembers passwords? Is there anybody here who remembers passwords? I know my bank password. I remember, I do not know my Facebook password. Does anybody here know their Facebook password? A couple of people. All right, I don't have a clue. I know it now. I know it now. But you know what I've learned is I've learned where in the computer it stores your passwords. Yes, and I know how to access it now. But the most amazing thing has happened out there. iCloud.
Yes.
iCloud is amazing. I go to set up I get my iPad yesterday. Let me open this guy up here. You know, this is the new Air one, the Air 2 guy. So, which surprised me because first off, I can put my thumb there and it turns it on. But I go to set it up, right? And I had already called Optimum Online to set up my whole iPad. And I got to the stage where it was time to do the mail. It was done. iCloud.
You should wait for
It came time for my Facebook. It was done. In the past, I would get a new device and I couldn't remember my new password, so they would send me an email to reset your password. You ever been there, done that?
Yeah.
So then I'd reset the password, but then what did you have to do? You had to go to all your old devices and change all those passwords to match the new password that you just put in. So now you know why I have less hair than the average human, okay? So we would go through all this, but this iCloud is amazing stuff to me. So even if you think of cyberspace, I mean, what's cyberspace? Right? Where's the iCloud? Do I like go to a closet somewhere and open it up? Or does it hover around me like when I walk? Like, you ever see the Peanuts with Linus and Pigpen? You ever remember Pigpen when he'd walk around and he'd have the dirt cloud all around him wherever
Oh,
he go?
yeah.
Right? Is that how the iCloud works? Like everywhere I go, I bring my little iCloud with me. Like my guardian angel kind of.
If it's like the commercials, yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's pretty amazing stuff. And what about like cyberspace? How the heck does Google do it? How does Google like sit in my computer and all of a sudden like I want to look up, let's say I want to look up I wanted to watch the highlights from last night's Ranger game because they had this amazing comeback. So I type it in and they go 5 billion hits, and then all of my highlights are there. In the past, man, if I missed the game, I missed the game. That was it. I couldn't watch their highlights. I couldn't watch the game. So now, cyberspace is out there. I almost feel like if I walk through this building under a bunker in Washington, and I just keep walking down some hallway and I keep opening doors with keys, eventually I'll get to one door that I open up. There it is. Cyberspace. All the data in the world floating around.
We need to get them with Apple.
Right? So this is amazing to me. But you know what? There's an analogy to be drawn with today's lesson. In today's lesson, the analogy is that not only is cyberspace floating around out there, not only is your iCloud floating around out there, Numberland is floating around out there. Number space, if you will. Oh, it's a wonderful cloud. It's floating around out there. And today, today, oh, you're good with iCloud, but this number cloud thing, let it rain?
Yeah.
Get rid of the claim, bright sun cloud, bright sun skies. Okay. So we're going to get through that and talk a lot today about Numberland. So a squared equals 25 has solutions of 5 and negative 5. That's a true statement. Okay. In set notation, negative 5 and 5. Big deal. Okay, negative 5 and 5 on the number line. Beautiful. So we know set notation. Squiggle, squiggle, negative 5 and 5 are located in there. Any questions on that? Okay. Now, what about 3x minus 1 is less than 8? First off, there are pitfalls in this particular problem. You see, this is asking a slightly different question. First off, I'm gonna show you the number one pitfall that kids make with this question. They do it all the time, constantly. Plus 1, 3x less than 9, divide by 3, x equals 3. Kids do it all the time, constantly. I just had a kid doing it last night that I was tutoring. Went over his house, was doing inequalities. First thing I did was looked at this particular inequality, and he did it 4 times in a row. He had 4 questions for homework, he did it every time. The answer's not 3. Hold on. If I give you this, that answer is 3. See, this question here, with this equal sign here, is saying out of all of those numbers floating around the number cloud, number land, all those numbers floating around, what is the one and only one number that satisfies 3 times that number minus 1 is 8? And then we have this process, this very methodical, very mechanical process that we've all gotten good at. In fact, we have gotten so good at this that we don't even think about it, right? On your quiz, right? Remember the third one? You just kind of, you're not thinking about what it is you're supposed to do, and you're just following the process. Okay, there's the answer. And we're not really thinking it through. That's what all kids do. And then they just kind of write x equals 3. And kids are so used to this, the same problem. They'll go, oh, all right, we add 1, we divide by 3, 3's the answer. No! See, this question says what's the one and only one number that floating around the number land is really equal, so that 3 times that number minus 1 does equal 8. This one says a completely different question. It happens to have a 3x, a 1, and an 8, but this is saying, what are all the numbers in number land, so that 3 times that number minus 1 is less than 8? And the truth is, 3 is not an answer. Because 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 minus 1 is 8, and is 8 less than 8? No. Since 3 is not even an answer. The truth is, the way to express the answer is like this. So the first lesson we learn from a mechanical or methodical point of view is anytime we have an inequality, less than, greater than, we always have to have 3 parts. We have to have the variable, the symbol, and the number. And by the way, did we go over what's a less than symbol and what's a greater than symbol? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't stand this alligator stuff. All right? I don't want to hear about the alligator eating the bigger number or whatever. It's irrelevant. The less than symbol is the less end of the number line. See that? Less than. And this is the greater than symbol. It's the greater end of the number line. Math things have logic behind them. Math is not...
Alligators.
Yeah, math is not gimmicks. Math is logical. Now, so x is less than 3 is how you express your answer. Now, if I think of some of the numbers, in fact, you and I could talk for the rest of eternity and never list all the numbers that are less than 3. Like you might say 2, you might say 1, you might say 0, and negative 5. What about negative 5.5? What about 2.99? What about 2.999? What about 2.99999? Every time you think you got close enough that you're just about at 3, I'll just throw another 9 on the end. And then when you get closer and you think, well, I've run out of 9s, I'll go to 8s. But you never really run out of 9s. So there's actually an infinite number of numbers that are less than 3. In fact, there's so many that you can't fit them on the number space. You know how they give you an answer space, right? And if you did number 1 and you expected to fill all those numbers in, they'd never fit on the line. So when we express our answer, we have to write the whole thing. X is less than 3. If we don't write all 3 of those parts, we're wrong every single time. You try the next one. Let it be. Okay, did you all get that answer?
Like it.
Right? Are we good?
Yep.
Now, tell me some answers to this question. What?
5.
What?
What are we talking about? N?
I want to know values of n that are answers to this question.
7.
7.
6.1.
Okay, so what I want to focus on, though, is the answer Molly gave, the answer 6. How come 6 is an answer to this one, but 3 is not an answer to that one? Yeah, right, you're allowed to equal it. Now, there's also this element of graphing these things. This you should remember from last year. The graph of the first one, all you do is put a 3 there, an open circle on 3, arrow to the left. Look, the arrow will always follow the direction of the inequality, as long as the letter's on the left. As long as the variable's on the left, whatever direction the inequality is telling you what direction to draw the line. So this is a picture of all the numbers that are less than 3. 2, 1, 0, the negatives, all the numbers in between. That's what the graph shows. If I wanted to do a graph for n is greater than or equal to 6, what would I do? Well, Wilfredo, go ahead.
You would close the circle
Yeah, I'm going to take the 6 and I'm going to fill it in. How come I fill it in?
because it's greater than or equal to,
The or equal to is the key part. Greater than tells you I go this way, same direction as the symbol. But the fact that it's allowed to be equal to, you know, one of the ways I remember that this is the way you can fill the circle in, it's like I take the extra ink here and I use it to fill the circle in. Okay? And it's greater than or equal to 6. Okay, try the next one. Question?
We will or will not have this on our test?
Not. This will be on the following test. Okay? I'm pretty sure you don't. We'll find out for sure when we get to the test tomorrow, but I made the test and I don't remember any of this on it. Of course I made the test. Wow. Okay, I'm willing to bet just about everybody got it wrong. Okay, did we all get to this step? Guys, head in the game, we only got a minute or 2 left. Everybody take a look at this step, we're all here? What's the next step you need to do to undo this division by -4? Multiply by -4, agree?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna show you the correct answer. What did I do? What did I do? What's the big difference, James?
You like flip the sign the other way?
Yeah, and the reason I flip the sign is this. When you're actually multiplying by -4, what you're doing is 2 things. You're multiplying by the 4 part, and you're also negating. So when you negate the negative here, it makes a positive x. When you negate the positive 2, it becomes a -8. But, hey, look here, don't miss this. This is huge. Stop what you're doing and listen. I also have to negate the less than. If I say to someone, you weigh less than 200 pounds, how do you negate that? You weigh what? More than 200 pounds. If you say to someone, you have more than $100 in your wallet, what is the negation of that? You have less than $100. So the less than also gets negated, so it has to become more than. So it's kind of like distributing, if you will, the negation across everything, including the sign. X is greater than -8 is the correct answer. Okay, tonight's homework, you have some of these to do. Hasta la vista, vaya con Dios, toodaloo, tata, arrivederci, smile a lot, ciao, arrivederci, adios amigos y amigas, cheerio!